The quantum arrays aboard the TNS Icarus hummed with familiar precision as Dr. Samira Patel conducted her weekly scan of the Carina sector. 15 years of searching had yielded nothing but false positives and natural phenomena. Yet she maintained her vigil, driven by the conviction that humanity couldn't be alone in the vast expanse of space. The year was 2187, and humanity had spread throughout the solar system, establishing colonies on Mars and the moons of Jupiter. The Terran Navy's deep space exploration program represented mankind's first serious attempt to reach beyond their cosmic backyard. The Icarus, with its experimental quantum detection systems, was their most advanced vessel. The first sign that today would be different came as a subtle irregularity in the quantum field readings. Samira might have missed it if she hadn't spent countless hours studying similar data patterns. But there it was, a perfectly symmetrical distortion in spacetime, far too ordered to be natural. "Captain Reynolds," she called over the ship's comm system, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "I'm detecting an anomaly in grid sector 47 Alpha. You need to see this." Captain Elena Reynolds arrived at the science station within minutes, her weathered face reflecting years of deep space experience. She studied the readings with the careful attention that had earned her command of humanity's most advanced starship. "Could it be another pulsar?" Reynolds asked, though her tone suggested she already knew the answer. Samira shook her head. "No, Captain. The pattern is artificial. Someone made this, and they wanted it to be found." Within hours, the Icarus's full science team was analyzing the phenomenon. Dr. Marcus Chen, the ship's quantum physicist, confirmed what Samira had suspected. They were looking at a manufactured quantum beacon, broadcasting on frequencies that shouldn't have been possible with known physics. The signal led them to a star system that didn't appear on any of their charts. As they approached, they discovered why. The entire system was cloaked behind a field of bent spacetime, hidden from conventional detection methods. Only the quantum beacon had pierced the veil. "Multiple structures detected," announced Lieutenant Sarah Cooper from Tactical. "Massive ones. Definitely artificial." The main view screen showed a sprawling complex of interconnected stations orbiting a dying red dwarf star. The architecture was alien, all sweeping curves and crystalline surfaces that seemed to defy conventional engineering. But more striking was the complete absence of activity. No energy signatures, no movement, nothing to suggest current occupation. "Life signs?" Captain Reynolds asked. "None that we can detect," Cooper replied. "But these structures, they're perfectly preserved. No sign of damage or decay. Whatever happened here, it wasn't destruction that made them leave." Dr. Chen's voice carried barely contained excitement as he studied his readings. "Captain, the quantum field surrounding this system, it's not just hiding it, it's preserving it. Time itself moves differently here. These structures could be millions of years old, but they're experiencing time at a fraction of the normal rate." As they drew closer to the largest structure, something changed. Lights began to flicker across its surface, patterns racing through crystalline corridors like neural impulses through a giant brain. The station was waking up. "We're receiving a transmission," Cooper announced. It's speaking English." The voice that filled the bridge was artificial, but carried unexpected warmth. "Welcome, children of Earth. We are the archive of the Netherian civilization. We have waited 2.7 million years for a species capable of finding us. You have exceeded our expectations by achieving quantum awareness far ahead of our projected timeline." Captain Reynolds stepped forward, her voice clear and diplomatic. "I am Captain Elena Reynolds of the Terran Navy ship Icarus. We come in peace and friendship." "Your peaceful intentions are noted, Captain Reynolds, but peace may not be a luxury any of us can afford for long. We have much to share and very little time. The quantum beacon that guided you here has also alerted others to your achievement of quantum awareness. The Netherians did not abandon this place by choice. We fled, and soon you may need to do the same." The medical bay's quantum scanner, whereas as Dr. Patel examined the data streaming from what appeared to be a Netherian stasis chamber. The crystalline pod was one of thousands they discovered throughout the station, each containing what seemed to be a living Netherian in suspended animation. The beings inside were humanoid but clearly alien. Tall, elegant creatures with iridescent skin that seemed to shift between solid and translucent states. Their bodies appeared to be partially merged with quantum technology, making it difficult to determine where biology ended and machine began. "They're alive," Samara confirmed, wonder evident in her voice. "Their consciousness exists in a quantum state, preserved perfectly through millions of years. But they're not just sleeping. They're waiting." Captain Reynolds studied the stasis chamber with a mix of awe and concern. Waiting for what? Before Samira could respond, the station's AI spoke again. "We wait for allies strong enough to help us face what comes. Your species has achieved something remarkable. You've developed quantum technology while maintaining your physical form and independent consciousness. The Netherians chose a different path, merging with their technology to survive. But in doing so, they became more vulnerable to certain threats." "What kind of threats?" Reynolds asked. "There are entities in this universe that feed on quantum-aware consciousness. They are drawn to civilizations that achieve quantum synthesis, as the Netherians did. We could not fight them directly. They exist partially outside normal spacetime. So we hid our people here, in this time-locked sanctuary, and scattered quantum beacons across the galaxy. We hope to find species that might approach quantum physics differently. Your humanity's unique combination of technological achievement and biological independence may be the key to our survival, and yours." The implications hung heavy in the air. Humanity had come looking for signs of alien life, but they'd found something far more complex, a sleeping civilization waiting for allies, and a threat that consumed advanced species. The Netherians' quantum technology could revolutionize human civilization, but claiming it might draw the attention of something humanity wasn't prepared to face. As if reading their thoughts, the AI continued. "You have a choice to make, children of Earth. You can turn back now, return to your solar system, and prepare for what comes. Or you can help us wake up, combine our knowledge with your unique approach to existence, and face the threat together. But choose quickly. The quantum ripples of your arrival are already spreading through the cosmos." Captain Reynolds looked at her crew, seeing the same mix of fear and determination on their faces that she felt herself. Humanity had never backed down from a challenge, never turned away from the unknown just because it was dangerous. They had come too far to turn back now. "We didn't cross the gulf between stars to run away from what we found," Reynolds declared. "Tell us what you need us to do. Let's wake up your people." As the crew began preparations for what would be humanity's greatest challenge, none of them noticed the subtle distortions appearing at the edges of the quantum field surrounding the system. Ripples in reality itself, like the first signs of a predator approaching its prey. The next 48 hours aboard the Netherian station were a blur of discovery and mounting tension. Dr. Marcus Chen worked alongside the station's AI to understand the quantum stasis technology, while Dr. Patel focused on the biological aspects of revival. The Netherians' biology was so intertwined with quantum mechanics that waking them wasn't simply a matter of ending their suspended animation. It required precisely reintegrating their consciousness with their physical forms. "It's like they exist in two states simultaneously," Samira explained during an emergency briefing. "Their bodies are here, but their minds are stored in a quantum network throughout the station. We can't just wake up the bodies without ensuring their consciousness transfers back correctly." Captain Reynolds had other concerns. Long-range sensors had detected multiple anomalies approaching the system, moving in ways that defied conventional physics. Lieutenant Cooper's tactical analysis suggested they had perhaps 3 days before the first of these anomalies reached them. "The entities are drawn to quantum consciousness," the Netherian AI explained. "Your ship's quantum detection arrays were enough to attract their attention, but attempting to revive our people will create a beacon they cannot ignore." The crew of the Icarus wasn't working alone anymore. The discovery of the Netherian station had caused a political firestorm back on Earth. The Terran Security Council had dispatched 3 additional ships, the TNS Hyperion, TNS Daedalus, and TNS Atlas, carrying specialists and defensive equipment. They would arrive within 24 hours, but no one knew if human weapons would be effective against a threat that existed partially outside normal spacetime. Dr. Chen made a breakthrough around hour 30. The quantum network storing their consciousness isn't just a storage system, he announced, excitement breaking through his usual reserved demeanor. It's a defense mechanism. The Netherians didn't just hide from these entities, they made themselves invisible by existing primarily as quantum data. Can we use that? Reynolds asked, seeing potential tactical advantages. Maybe. Chen manipulated a holographic display, showing the complex quantum fields surrounding the station. But we'd need to modify our ship's systems significantly. Human technology approaches quantum mechanics from a completely different direction. We try to measure and control quantum states. The Netherians learn to exist within them. The Netherian as avatars shimmered into existence beside them. This is why we waited for a species like yours. Our civilization achieved great things by embracing quantum existence, but we lost something essential in the process, the ability to affect the physical world directly. These entities cannot easily detect or consume biological consciousness. Your physical nature, combined with your quantum technology, makes you uniquely suited to fight them. A sudden alert from Tactical interrupted their discussion. Captain, Lieutenant Cooper called out, her voice tense. The anomalies have accelerated. New arrival estimate is 16 hours. Reynolds made a decision. Dr. Chen, Dr. Patel, you have 12 hours to figure out how to wake up at least one of the Netherians. We need their direct knowledge. Lieutenant Cooper, coordinate with the incoming Terran ships. I want defensive positions established before those anomalies arrive. As the crew rushed to their tasks, Dr. Patel made an unexpected discovery in the Netherian medical databases. Their physical forms aren't just integrated with quantum technology, she reported. They're designed to merge with it. Each Netherian is capable of interfacing directly with their technology. It's not just tools to them, it's an extension of their being. This revelation led to a possible solution. Instead of trying to wake up the Netherians using human methods, they could use the quantum technology itself as a bridge. Dr. Chen reprogrammed the Icarus's quantum arrays to match the frequency of the Netherian consciousness network. It's risky, he admitted. We'll essentially be creating a quantum link between our ship and their network. If something goes wrong, we could lose our own quantum systems. And if these entities arrive before we succeed? Cooper asked. The AS response was grim. Then you will witness firsthand what happened to our civilization. These beings do not destroy in the physical sense. They consume consciousness itself, leaving empty shells behind. Your physical nature provides some protection, but once they realize you possess quantum technology, they will adapt. The arrival of the other Terran ships brought new resources, but also new complications. Captain Jessica Wong of the TNS Hyperion argued for a more cautious approach, suggesting they should focus on studying the Netherian technology from a safe distance. Captain Reynolds disagreed. We're beyond the point of cautious observation, she argued during a joint briefing. These entities are coming whether we act or not. Our best chance is to wake up the Netherians and learn everything we can from them before first contact. The debate was settled by another discovery from Dr. Patel. The stasis pods weren't just preserving the Netherians. They were slowly failing. The quantum field protecting the station had maintained them for millions of years, but the energy required was immense. The system was designed to recognize potential allies and activate the beacon. Once activated, they had a limited time to revive the Netherians before the stasis system failed completely. If we don't wake them soon, Samira explained, they'll die anyway. Their consciousness will dissolve into quantum noise, and everything they know will be lost forever. The 4 Terran ships moved into defensive positions around the station. Engineers worked frantically to integrate Netherian quantum principles into their shields and weapons. Dr. Chen and Dr. Patel prepared to attempt their first revival, selecting a pod containing what appeared to be a Netherian scientist. As they initiated the revival sequence, the quantum fields throughout the station fluctuated wildly. Warning signals blared as the approaching anomalies accelerated again, as if drawn to the energy release. The Netherian within the pod began to phase between quantum and physical states, its iridescent skin pulsing with patterns of light. Lieutenant Cooper's voice cut through the tension. Multiple quantum distortions detected. The entities. They're already here. The Netherian's eyes snapped open, its partly translucent form solidifying, as consciousness returned to flesh. It spoke, its voice resonating on both physical and quantum levels. You must listen carefully. What I'm about to tell you will determine the survival of both our species. Around the station, space itself began to twist, as if reality was being pulled apart by hungry, unseen forces. The awakened Netherian identified itself as lead researcher Xylos, its form shifting between solid and translucent states as it adjusted to physical existence. The being's movements were unnaturally fluid, as if gravity held less sway over its quantum-infused body. But there was no time for proper introductions. The entities had arrived faster than anyone had anticipated. They're not just drawn to quantum consciousness, Xylos explained, its voice carrying harmonics that seemed to resonate with the station's systems. They hunger for it. Your quantum technology is like a beacon, but attempting to revive our people is like igniting a sun in the darkness. The tactical displays aboard all 4 Terran ships lit up with warnings as reality itself began to warp around them. The entities manifested as tiers in spacetime, regions where the normal laws of physics simply ceased to function. Conventional sensors couldn't track them directly. They could only map the distortions they left in their wake. Multiple breaches forming. Lieutenant Cooper reported. They're trying to surround the station. Captain Reynolds' voice remained steady as she issued commands to the fleet. Hyperion, Daedalus, maintain position on the outer perimeter. Atlas, fall back to reinforce the station's quantum shield. All ships, initiate quantum camouflage protocols. The quantum camouflage was Dr. Chen's adaptation of Netherian technology, designed to mask their ship's quantum signatures. But Xylos warned it wouldn't be enough. These entities don't just detect quantum energy, they can taste the complexity of consciousness itself. Your natural biology provides some protection, but your quantum systems make you visible to them. As if to prove the point, one of the space-time tiers suddenly expanded, engulfing the TNS Daedalus's aft section. The ship's quantum systems went dark instantly, and with them, all advanced functions. Captain Reynolds watched in horror as the mighty vessel began drifting, its crew frantically working to restore power using conventional systems. The entities are more aggressive than before, Xylos observed, interfacing directly with the station's systems through its quantum-enhanced biology. Your species' unique combination of biological and quantum existence has made them hungry. They no longer seek just to consume. They want to understand how you achieve this duality. Dr. Patel, who had been monitoring the Netherians' biological signs, made a crucial observation. Their attack pattern, it's not random. They're testing our defenses, learning how we respond. They're intelligent. This revelation changed everything. They weren't just fighting against cosmic forces. They were facing a conscious enemy, one capable of strategy and adaptation. But with this realization came an opportunity. If these entities could think, they could potentially be outthought. Captain Wang's voice crackled over the quantum comm. Hyperion's quantum shields are failing. We can't hold them back. You cannot fight them conventionally, Xylos insisted, its form pulsing with urgency. But your biological nature gives you an advantage my people never had. We must wake the others. Not all, but enough. I know of a way to combine your physical resilience with our quantum mastery. Reynolds made a quick decision. Dr. Chen, Dr. Patel, begin reviving the priority candidates Hylos identifies. Lieutenant Cooper, coordinate with all ships to establish a rotating shield frequency. Keep those things guessing. As the human crew raced to implement their orders, Silos shared the true history of the Netherian civilization. They hadn't chosen to merge with quantum technology purely for advancement. They'd done it to survive their first encounter with these entities. By shifting their consciousness partially out of physical space, they'd bought themselves time, but at a terrible cost. We became what they wanted to consume, Xylos explained. Our merger with quantum systems made us more vulnerable, not less. But you humans, you've achieved something remarkable. You use quantum technology without letting it use you. The next few hours were a desperate race against time. While the Terran ships fought to hold back the entities, Dr. Chen and Dr. Patel worked with Xylos to revive key Netherian scientists and warriors. Each revival drew more attention from the entities, but also brought new knowledge and capabilities to their defense. The awakened Netherians immediately began interfacing with their ancient systems, bringing dormant defenses online. The station hummed with power as quantum weapons, not used in millions of years, charged up. But more importantly, the Netherians began teaching the humans how to adapt their technology to fight back. Your quantum systems are crude by our standards, one Netherian scientist observed, but their very simplicity makes them harder for the entities to corrupt. We can work with this. Dr. Chen's eyes widened as he grasped the implications. We don't need to match their quantum complexity. We need to use our technology's limitations as a shield. The entities seemed to sense the changing tide. Their attacks became more coordinated, more desperate. The TNS Atlas took a direct hit, its quantum core nearly overloading before emergency protocols kicked in. But the ship's crew managed to restore partial power using the new hybrid human-Netherian techniques. They're learning too quickly, Cooper warned. Each attack is more efficient than the last. Silos interfaced with the station's main quantum processor, its consciousness expanding through the system. There's another way, something we never dared try before. Your biological resistance to quantum corruption makes it possible. The plan was audacious. Instead of trying to hide their quantum signatures or shield against the entity's attacks, they would turn their consciousness itself into a weapon. Human minds, already naturally resistant to quantum corruption, would be temporarily linked to Netherian quantum systems, creating a hybrid consciousness that the entities couldn't easily consume. The risk is enormous. Phylos warned. If we fail, both our consciousnesses could be lost. But if we succeed, we'll create something these entities have never encountered. A quantum awareness they cannot digest. Captain Reynolds looked at her crew, seeing the same mix of fear and determination on every face. Humanity had never backed down from a challenge, never surrendered when the odds seemed impossible. It was this very trait that had drawn the Netherians to choose them as potential allies. "How many human volunteers do you need?" she asked. "One for each awakened Netherian," Silos replied. "The synchronization must be perfect." Dr. Patel stepped forward first. "I'll do it. I've been studying their biology since we arrived. I have the best chance of maintaining neural stability during the merger." Others quickly followed. Dr. Chen, Lieutenant Cooper, and crew members from all 4 ships. Captain Reynolds herself volunteered, despite protests from her officers. "I don't ask my crew to take risks I won't take myself," she declared. As they prepared for the dangerous merger, the entities launched their strongest attack yet. Space itself seemed to scream as quantum tears appeared throughout the system. The Terran ship's defenses began to fail one by one. Beginning consciousness synchronization. Tylos announced, "Remember, focus on your physical existence even as you touch our quantum awareness. Your biology is your anchor." The merger began, and with it came a sensation none of the human volunteers had been prepared for. The experience of existing in multiple states simultaneously, their consciousness expanding beyond physical limitations while still maintaining its essential human nature. Through their new quantum awareness, They could finally see the entities for what they were: ancient, hungry things that had evolved to feed on consciousness itself. But in that moment of clarity, they also saw the entity's fundamental weakness. They could only consume consciousness that existed primarily in a quantum state. As the hybrid human-Netherian consciousness took hold, Captain Reynolds had one last thought before their counterattack began. Humanity had come looking for life among the stars, but they'd found something far more profound. They'd found a way to evolve without losing what made them human in the first place. The merging of human and Netherian consciousness created something unprecedented in the history of either species. Through their hybrid awareness, the volunteers experienced existence on multiple levels simultaneously. They were still anchored in their physical bodies, but their minds expanded through quantum space, touching realms of reality previously hidden from human perception. Captain Reynolds found herself existing in two states at once. Her human consciousness remained sharp and focused, while her newly acquired quantum awareness spread through the station's systems like fire through neural pathways. Through this expanded perception, she could finally see their enemies clearly. The entities weren't just tears in space-time. They were ancient intelligences that had evolved beyond physical form, existing purely as patterns in quantum foam. They appeared as vast, shifting geometries of thought and hunger, incomprehensible to normal human senses. But to the hybrid consciousness, their nature was finally clear. "They're afraid." Dr. Patel's voice resonated through both physical and quantum space. Her merged consciousness had adapted quickly, perhaps due to her deep understanding of Netherian biology. "They've never encountered anything like us before. We're neither purely physical nor purely quantum. They don't know how to consume us." The entities reacted to this new threat with increasing violence. Space itself buckled as they launched attack after attack, trying to tear apart the hybrid consciousness before it could fully stabilize. The Terran ships, now guided by crews sharing awareness with Netherian systems, moved with impossible precision to maintain their defensive formation. Lieutenant Cooper, her tactical expertise enhanced by quantum awareness, coordinated the fleet's response. "They're trying to isolate us, break the quantum links between our minds. Don't let them separate you from your physical anchor." Dr. Chen, working in parallel with his Netherian counterpart, made a crucial discovery. The hybrid consciousness isn't just resistant to their attacks, it's actively toxic to them. Our biological thought patterns are corrupting their quantum coherence. The entities seemed to realize this too. Their attacks became more desperate, more frenzied. Several broke through the defensive perimeter, attempting to consume the consciousness of the unmerged crew members. But the hybrid minds responded instantly, extending protective quantum fields around their vulnerable colleagues. "Push them back," Reynolds commanded, her consciousness resonating through both the physical and quantum command networks. "Don't just defend. Attack. Show them why humanity never backs down." The hybrid consciousness surged forward, using the station's ancient quantum weapons in ways their Netherian creators had never imagined. Human tactical thinking, unbound by millions of years of quantum existence, brought new strategies to bear. Where the Netherians had fought defensively, trying to preserve their quantum existence, humanity's hybrid consciousness struck directly at the entity's core nature. Dr. Patel discovered they could use their hybrid state to generate quantum dissonance, patterns of thought that were poisonous to the entity's quantum-pure existence. "It's like introducing a virus into their consciousness," she explained. "Our biological thought patterns create chaos in their ordered quantum states." The battle reached its peak when three entities combined their efforts, creating a massive quantum tear that threatened to swallow the entire station. But Captain Reynolds, her hybrid consciousness now fully integrated with both human and Netherian technology, saw an opportunity. "All ships, converge your quantum fields," she ordered. "Dr. Chen, prepare to invert the station's quantum core. We're going to give these things a taste of their own medicine." The maneuver was dangerous, perhaps suicidal. By inverting the quantum core while maintaining their hybrid consciousness, they would create a feedback loop of biological and quantum thought patterns. The entities, drawn to such massive quantum activity, wouldn't be able to resist trying to consume it. The feedback could tear our minds apart. Thylos warned, its consciousness intertwined with Reynolds. Even in our hybrid state, we've never attempted anything like this. That's exactly why it's going to work, Reynolds responded. They've never encountered anything like this either. The entities took the bait. As the quantum core inverted, creating a maelstrom of hybrid consciousness, the ancient predators rushed in to feed. But instead of finding easy prey, they encountered something their eons of existence hadn't prepared them for: the chaotic, resilient, impossibly adaptable patterns of human consciousness, merged with Netherian quantum mastery. The feedback loop acted like a quantum virus, spreading through the entity's consciousness, corrupting their perfectly ordered existence with the beautiful chaos of biological thought. The hybrid minds watched in awe as their ancient enemies began to break apart, their quantum coherence shattered by patterns they couldn't consume or comprehend. The entities that survived retreated, their quantum signatures fading into the background noise of space. But victory had come at a cost. The hybrid consciousness was unstable, threatening to burn out both human and Netherian minds if maintained too long. We need to separate, Dr. Chen warned, his hybrid consciousness already showing signs of strain. Our bodies can't sustain this level of quantum integration indefinitely. The separation process was almost as dangerous as the merger had been. Each human volunteer had to carefully disentangle their consciousness from the quantum systems while maintaining their core identity. Several experienced temporary memory loss or disorientation. But in the end, humanity's stubborn grip on physical existence proved to be their salvation. As the last neural links dissolved, Captain Reynolds found herself back in her purely human form, her quantum awareness fading like the memory of a dream. But something had changed. The brief experience of hybrid consciousness had left its mark on both species. We aren't meant to exist as pure quantum beings, Xylos observed, its form stabilizing into a more solid state than before. But neither can we ignore the quantum nature of consciousness. Perhaps there is a middle path, one that embraces both physical and quantum existence without surrendering either. The immediate threat had been defeated, but greater challenges lay ahead. The entities would return, possibly with new strategies to counter the hybrid defense. But humanity and the Netherians were no longer alone in facing them. Together, they had discovered a new way of existing, one that combined the best aspects of both species. As the Terran ships began urgent repairs and the awakened Netherians worked to revive more of their people, Captain Reynolds looked out at the quantum tiers slowly healing in space. Humanity had come seeking knowledge among the stars. Instead, they had found a war, an alliance, and a transformation none of them had been prepared for. The galaxy would never be the same, and neither would they. In the weeks following the battle, the Netherian station became a hub of feverish activity. The successful defense against the entities had proven that revival was possible, and more importantly, that humans and Netherians could work together in ways neither species had imagined. But it had also confirmed that the entities would return, possibly with new tactics to counter the hybrid defense. They're older than our civilizations combined, Xylos explained during a joint strategic conference. They'd been consuming advanced species since the first quantum-aware beings emerged in our galaxy. They won't accept this defeat easily. The conference chamber itself reflected the rapidly evolving partnership between the two species. Netherian quantum displays merged seamlessly with human holographic technology, while the participants themselves represented every aspect of both civilizations. Captain Reynolds and her fellow ship commanders sat alongside awakened Netherian leaders, their differences in appearance and thought processes no longer barriers but advantages to be leveraged. Dr. Paddle presented her latest findings on the hybrid consciousness phenomenon. The merger changed both species on a fundamental level. Those of us who participated in the joining have developed a limited ability to perceive quantum states even without direct neural links, and our Netherian partners are showing increased stability in their physical forms. The implications were staggering. The brief merger had started an evolutionary process in both species, creating the potential for a new form of existence that was neither purely physical nor purely quantum. But it also raised serious ethical and practical questions about the future of both civilizations. We're getting requests from Earth to share Netherian quantum technology, Captain Wong reported. Every major nation and corporation wants access to their advanced systems, and many of our people are eager to study human biological resilience, added first speaker Lyra, one of the newly awakened Netherian leaders. But we must proceed carefully. Our civilizations are at very different stages of development. Dr. Chen, who had been working with Netherian scientists to develop stable interfaces between human and quantum technology, raised another concern. The hybrid consciousness proved effective against the entities, but it's incredibly dangerous. We still don't fully understand the long-term effects on human neural patterns or Netherian quantum coherence. Captain Reynolds had been quietly studying the tactical data from the battle, looking for patterns that might help them prepare for future encounters. "We don't have the luxury of time," she said. "Those things will be back, and next time they'll be ready for our hybrid defense. We need to develop new strategies, new technologies, new ways of combining our strengths." The solution came from an unexpected source. Lieutenant Cooper, whose tactical experience had been enhanced by her exposure to quantum awareness, proposed a revolutionary approach. "We don't need to maintain the hybrid consciousness continuously," she explained. "What if we developed a system that would allow us to shift between states as needed? Humans maintain their biological nature, but can temporarily merge with quantum systems in combat situations." The idea captured the imagination of both species. It would allow them to maintain their distinct identities while still accessing the powerful capabilities of the hybrid state. Teams of human engineers and Netherian quantum specialists began working on prototype systems immediately. But the greatest challenge wasn't technological, it was cultural. Both species had to overcome millennia of isolation and development to forge a true partnership. The Netherians had to learn to value physical existence again, while humans had to expand their understanding of consciousness beyond purely biological bounds. "We spent millions of years hiding in quantum states," Xylos reflected during a private conversation with Reynolds. "We thought transcending physical form would make us stronger. Instead, it made us vulnerable to beings that feed on pure consciousness. Your species reminded us that true strength comes from embracing all aspects of existence." The Terran Security Council, after lengthy deliberation, approved the establishment of a permanent human presence at the Netherian station. The facility was renamed Unity Point and became the center of a joint defense initiative. More ships arrived, carrying scientists, engineers, and military personnel from Earth's most advanced nations. The Netherians, for their part, began the careful process of reviving more of their people. But instead of returning to their fully quantum state, they chose to maintain a balance between physical and quantum existence, inspired by their human allies. As Unity Point grew into a symbol of cooperation between species, it also became something else, a warning to the entities and any other threats that might lurk in the quantum depths of space. Humanity and the Netherians had proved that different approaches to existence could be complementary rather than competitive. 6 months after the first battle, the long-range quantum arrays detected the first signs of the entities regrouping. But this time, both species were ready. The prototype hybrid interface systems had been successfully tested, allowing humans to merge with quantum systems safely and temporarily. Netherian quantum weapons had been modified to work with human tactical systems, creating defenses that could operate in both physical and quantum space. Captain Reynolds stood on the observation deck of Unity Point, watching human and Netherian ships running joint combat drills. The vessels moved in perfect coordination, their crews practicing the rapid shifts between normal and hybrid consciousness that would be crucial in the battles to come. "We're still badly outnumbered," Xylos observed, joining her at the viewport. "The entities have consumed thousands of civilizations over millions of years. Their power is vast. Numbers aren't everything." Reynolds replied, a slight smile crossing her face. Humanity has always done its best work as the underdog. And now we're not fighting alone. The quantum arrays pulsed with warning signals. The entities were moving faster than expected, their approach sending ripples through space-time. But as alarm klaxons sounded and crews rushed to battle stations, there was no fear in Unity Point's command center. Humans and Netherians worked side by side, each bringing their unique strengths to the coming battle. They had found each other across millions of light years and millions of years, two species that should never have met, creating something entirely new together. The entities had spent eons consuming civilizations that achieved quantum awareness, but they had never encountered anything like this, a partnership that bridged the gap between physical and quantum existence, proving that consciousness itself was more powerful when shared than when consumed. As the first quantum tears appeared at the edge of the system, Captain Reynolds gave the order that would become famous throughout both civilizations. All ships, prepare for hybrid shift. Show them what two species fighting as one can do. The battle for the future of consciousness in the galaxy was about to begin again. But this time, evolution itself was on their side.